I told my friend about your channel and how I had submitted a story to you a while back, and she told me that she had a story to share. So, she gave me permission to tell you. Anyway, the story begins at a convention here in Australia called Maginicon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I butcher words like I butcher salads. The people involved are my friend, who I'll call May, and the weeb we'll call Kay. I'll be telling the story how my friend told me, so if it's a bit messy in spots, I apologize. The story begins with my friend at a convention. She was a vendor in the alley. She had woken up at 3 a.m. and had driven a 10-hour drive just to get to her hotel in time, to check in, and to give herself enough time for pre-registration, and to get some much-needed sleep, of which she received none because the neighbors were going at it like a pair of randy rabbits. She managed just to get maybe 5 hours of sleep, and by 10 a.m. she was set up in the artist alley. Being a concept designer as well as a comic artist by trade, she had prints, stickers, posters, as well as a few pins that she had gotten made for the convention. For most of the first day of the con, things went really well, until Kay showed up. Misty was talking to a customer who had purchased one of everything on her table, including one of her original pieces, which were much more expensive than the prints when Kay walked up. She stared at Misty's merch with a disgusted face, which Misty didn't notice at first until someone told her later on. Misty quickly waved to Kay, asking how she was doing and saying that she'd be with her in a moment, but Kay instead grunted at her and walked away. Misty was of course shocked at the strange behavior, but she ignored it, continued helping her customers with their purchase. The first day continued on until closing. Kay would occasionally come back to stock Misty's stall while she was focused on other customers, or she would walk by and stare at her, but nothing too outrageous. The second day, however, that is when her behavior went from mild to unacceptable. Misty arrived that day much more refreshed than the previous, and she had managed to have a breakfast and bought a coffee and extra water. She was set up for a good day, and having completely forgotten about Kay. The day went on much like the previous, though it was a little bit slower. Plenty of nice customers and a lot smaller purchases. With the slower, calmer atmosphere, it gave Misty time to do some sketches in her custom sketchbook, a sketchbook made of various paper textures and colors for different mediums which she had constructed herself. She was sketching away when Kay turned up at her stall. Misty didn't really recognize her face, but she knew she had seen her the day before. Still, Misty smiled and politely said, "Hi, how are you? Can I help you with anything?" Kay completely ignored her and continued to look at Misty's art before saying, "You know, you'd be more liked if you drew anime and manga." Misty looked at her with a puzzled face and said, Okay. I like anime and manga, but I prefer my own style. Thanks," she said, continuing to sketch. The best way I can describe Misty's art is very old Disney meeting Art Nouveau. Very elegant, very tastefully colored. Misty was working on the sketch of Sardonyx, I think it was, from Steven Universe, when Kay suddenly snatched her sketchbook from her. Misty slumped, resting her head in her hands, simply staring up at Kay. At this point, she was well and truly annoyed with this weeb, but wanted to see how this played out before telling her to go away. Kay flicked through the pages, pulling disgusted faces at each picture when she spoke again. "Well, your art style really sucks. You have potential, but you're such a baka gaijin that you draw such poor art." Misty raised a brow at her. No, if you don't like my art, that's fine, but just because it's not anime doesn't mean it's bad. And I'm not a foreigner. I was born in this country. And if you're referring to my race, then by that logic, you'd be considered a gaijin as well," she said, gladly sassing the weeb for her rude remarks. She reached for her sketchbook when Kay suddenly pulled away. "No, I'm sick of seeing all this terrible art. I'm putting a stop to this," she said, reaching to grab a hold of Misty's Sharpie pen. Misty knew exactly what Kay was going to do, and she grabbed a hold of the sketchbook, which resulted in a tug-of-war of epic proportions, and left several pages badly ripped and others damaged. Misty finally got her sketchbook free and started telling Kay off for being a complete bitch. Kay just hunched her shoulders and looked away at her feet before walking away embarrassed. Misty never reported this, though she wished she had. She managed to redraw a few sketches, but thankfully most of the other damaged ones were practices she wasn't happy with. Other than that experience, Misty enjoyed the convention, and this was the first time she'd ever encountered a weeb like this before, and she hopes to never cross paths with one again.